Well, you know what? Now that I can actually figure out how to work things and can cut us on live, we are live with the transplant game. It's going to be Mr. Phil Harris, of course, who's brought us several shows about the transplant game, along with his special guest. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out of your way, Phil, and I'm going to let you take it over. And I'm here if y'all need me for anything. But please, please tell us who these young ladies are.
Of course, we've got team managers of the Transplant Games of America for Team Alabama. And of course, they've had a big part in us making the trip for the Olympic Games in Denver in 2026. And that's Lael Feist and Pam Banker. Both of you give us a quick hello. We want to welcome you into the show. Glad you're able to join us and getting an exciting time of the year for the Transplant Games.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
very exciting time.
Yes, definitely. So, well, I kind of want to give a little bit of a background, kind of get your feet wet a little bit. I'll start with you, Lael. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and that type of game. We'll go further into, your job, as being team manager and what that happens in that. But tell us a little bit of background information about you.
Let's see. I'll just give you a quick background of my job and all that. But so I'm an environmental engineer. I have a farm in Arley, Alabama. And I am a living kidney donor. So I donated a kidney to at the time, a student at UAH in Huntsville. And it was 3 years ago that I made that donation. I came upon an idea to donate a kidney in memory of a baby that I had lost 20 years earlier. And it was, oh, sorry, I don't know what.
Uh-oh.
Well, she muted. It looks like she muted her. Yeah, you're muted. There you go. You're back on.
Change you, but I lost a picture somehow.
Yeah. You're back.
Okay. Sorry about that. So I came up with this idea. I encountered someone who was in need of a kidney. She was in her 80s, and just having a conversation with her, I didn't even know that living donors were possible. And, running with that idea, I was coming on this 20-year anniversary of losing a baby that died before birth, had no kidneys. So putting all that together, I came up with this idea. I was going to donate in memory of my first baby. I went on to have 2 wonderful children afterwards, but, decided I was going to fulfill this need for another family. So I ended up finding my recipient on Facebook. His father had put out a plea. His church had a recorded service that they asked people as well during that service. And I think the link came because I was looking at Vanderbilt Transplant Center to make the donation. So that's how kind of the Facebook feed tied together. So basically it was asking to test on behalf of Alex. There are a couple compatibility checks that we had to go through. I had to submit a blood sample. They had to mix our bloods together to see if there would be any compatibility issues. And then there was some human trying to get the right word. I think it was like an allele that had 6 alleles that had to match, and we were a close enough match. So it was a really fast-paced donation. I decided in June of 2022 that I was going to make the donation, and then by August I had the surgery planned because Alex, he had a genetic condition. He was putting off dialysis. So at the time of the surgery, his kidneys were functioning at 7%.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Well, tell me this, Leo.
All
You
right.
being a
Now I'm not getting
donor,
sound from you.
yeah, are you not? You're not hearing me at all. You don't hear me at all.
No sound?
No sound. You don't hear me, Leo.
Hey, Lil, would you please try logging back in? Phil, you go ahead and I've lost the feed from Lil. If
Okay.
you'll log
Okay.
back in.
I was going to ask her about how that linked her to the transplant games,
I'm
but
not getting any sound.
okay.
No sound?
Uh, no sound yet. So Pam, I want to ask you the same question. Tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about your family, and what got you to this point to where, organ donation and organ recipient and that type of thing. What kind of briefly, what is your story?
Well, I received a bone marrow from an unrelated donor. I had 2 types of leukemia, which is rare, and bone marrow transplant was the only way to get over the leukemia. So they put me on the Be a Match, or they went to Be a Match to find me a donor, and they actually found 2. So they picked the younger and the healthiest of the 2, which was a 24-year-old. Well, he might have been 22 at the time. I think he was still in college or just gotten out of college. And he had been, while he was in college, one of his classmates' mother had leukemia, so they did a bone marrow drive, and that's how he got on the registry. And that's how he was chosen to be my donor.
Yeah.
And I've since met him, so it was really funny that the first transplant games I ever went to was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that's where he's from. So it was just, I don't know, it was meant to be, I guess.
Divine interventions, as we say.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I'm a liver recipient, and I have never met my donor family. I've sent one letter. I need to do that because it would be nice to reach out to them because it's been 6 years now. And of course, if it wasn't for my donor family, that I wouldn't be here today. So, well, Pam, continuing on with that, and then I'll go back to Leo. How did you being a recipient of a transplant? How did that get you linked into the Transplant Olympic Games? What got you started in that, and how did you find out about it?
Well, I can't really remember the whole thing, but I remember they had I was in Mobile at the time, and they had like a walk in the park, which was a fundraiser for the transplant games. For them, it was David Miller, who's actually manager of Team Mississippi now, and Bridget Bowler, who was a kidney recipient in Mobile. And they had put this on, and they were telling, about the games and all this stuff. And so I just got interested in it, and we started fundraising, and we'd do a bingo on Saturday nights, and just little things we would do. And like I said, the first one I went to was in Grand Rapids. And Bridget has since passed away, which she was my partner in a lot of things and at the games and stuff. So she was looking forward to the ones in Birmingham, and but it just wasn't meant to be. So.
Well, when you went to Grand Rapids, did you compete in any sports?
I
And in
competed.
Birmingham, what sports did you compete in Birmingham?
Grand Rapids, I competed in bowling. Uh, the shot, what do you call it? The shot put?
Mm-hmm.
Shot, yeah. And the softball throw. I don't know if they still have that or not. And let's see, what else did I do? Well, the softball throw, I didn't get it very far. The shot put, I didn't even get it off the concrete slab I was standing on. So that was not good. But now bowling, I won my first gold medal there. And I won it in singles and doubles. We won a silver in doubles. So that was that got me hooked. Well, actually, what got me hooked with the games was the opening ceremony, which was very, very nice.
Yeah, that's kind of a heartwarming experience. Well, what sports did you compete in Birmingham?
In Birmingham, I competed in darts, which I won a silver. Bowling, which I won a gold, and actually 2 golds in singles and doubles. And I also competed in the poker, Texas Hold'em, which I didn't medal in that, but it was fun. It was real fun.
Yeah, of course, the biggest thing is the competition is the meeting the people more than anything else. I mean, you want to win a medal, but getting to meet others is what makes it rewarding. You don't. I mean, you're there to compete and win, but you don't realize what you're walking into. And that was for me. Birmingham was my first Olympics, and golly, mom, they were so much more than winning a medal.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yep. Well, Lael, I'm going to spin back to you. Finish up kind of what I wanted to ask you was, being a donor, how did you get linked into the Transplant Games, and what sports have you competed in?
I feel like I saw something on Facebook, and my first reaction was like, oh, these are like extreme athletes. I'm never going to qualify. So I think it was maybe something I saw for the World Transplant Games that have qualifiers. But I think I dug a little bit further on the internet and then found the Transplant Games of America, and the fact that you didn't really need to qualify for any of the events. Mm-hmm. So the events that I do, that I did in Birmingham was the virtual triathlon. So they put together a 1,000-yard swim. There was a 1,000-yard run and a 12K bike. So you did all those 3 events separately, and then they put your time together. So I did that. I ran the 5K, and participated in shot put and discus as well.
Yeah. So, I'm sure, it's nice but you get so many stories from talking to other people. And I know the people that are involved mostly are transplant donors, donor families, transplant recipients, but it would be nice to see everybody come and experience what we went through, or what we have gone through, and what we are going to see when we go to Denver is, it's like everybody's linked together. Everybody has a story, and it's amazing to just kind of look around the room and watch all these people that probably would not be here if it wasn't for organ donors.
Right. Yeah. And we had several young team members in Birmingham that you could just see them blossom, that they hadn't participated in sports before, and they were able to do some of these, some of the activities were not they didn't have a high degree of athleticism, But they were still able to participate and win. So just seeing that, I think William had never played pickleball, and he was partnered with, a team member that was over 50, and the two of them won.
Yeah.
Just to see him light up and learn that he can do these things.
I think that's what scares people away from it is, they don't think they're good enough to do any of the sports, but you don't really have to have any talent. You just get out there because a lot of the people are there with the same issues. They're not sure if they can get out there and throw a bowling ball or a discus or run, but just get out there.
Well, it's like me in my younger days. I was a decent basketball player, but now I'm not very good of a basketball player anymore. And as a matter of fact, I had a bad shoulder. I contributed on a bronze medal team, but basically all I did was got on the goal and shove people out from under the goal. When I figured out they wasn't going to blow any whistles on me, I just took over. I just shoved people out from under the goal. So that was my part.
Good.
That was my part in us getting a medal. I contributed. I scored 2 points, but I still contributed, and it was a lot of fun.
I think basketball was the roughest sport.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the most fun to watch too. So
it was definitely physical. I mean, but the competitiveness was so fun. When we played those teams, it was very competitive. But at the end, you just hugged necks and shook hands, and that's what made it worthwhile. And and that's like the team I was on. We become a brotherhood just in 4 basketball games we played.
Right.
It'll be something we'll always remember and we'll always cherish.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving forward, y'all are, both of you, Leo and Pam, y'all are a big part of the executive committee. Y'all are the manager and co-manager, which means a lot of the Olympic responsibilities of getting the teams there, all the planning behind the scenes, that a lot falls back on y'all. Tell us a little bit about what your job is when it comes to the Transplant Games. We start with you, Leila.
Okay. Well, let's see. A lot of it has to do with organizing fundraising. We've tried to organize some fundraising events. We don't have any independent events planned except Legacy of Hope's April music event. Otherwise, we've gone through like Texas Roadhouse, Panda Express, some of these other companies that'll give back to the
Krispy
community.
Kreme.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme, I guess Red Robin, the hamburger place, for fundraising. Otherwise, we reach out with grants to Alabama Power, and Redstone Arsenal has contributed. So we reach out to mostly to companies that have a tie to our team members.
Mm-hmm.
Then individuals just fundraise themselves through our Give Butter account. And you can look for Team Alabama, and you can see all our team members and contribute to them. So, a lot of it's just trying to organize the team members. If team members raise a minimum amount, then the team can support them. Otherwise, team members can pay for the event themselves. I think it's a four-day event, and it's in Denver in June. So it ends up being quite costly. Our fundraising from 2024, we did not use all that funding. So we had some funds remaining to help support team members as well. And, as years go by, we hope to just continue to support team members.
Yeah,
They,
and a lot is dependent on private people. Like you were talking about, folks can
Right.
go on Give Butter. That's the big, and you can donate to an individual person, or
Mm-hmm.
the team, because the picture's up there and you'll know who that person is, or you can donate to the team. Either one, it all goes in the same pot.
mm,
But a lot of us depend on private donations because I think didn't it cost somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3,500
yeah.
if you
Yeah, per
consider flight,
person.
hotel room,
And
fees,
our
yeah,
uh,
everything.
young team members, they have their family going as well. So,
Mhm.
we want to make it as cheap as possible for them, because, we really just want to give them the chance to attend.
Well, Pam, on your side, you being a co-manager, what is a lot of your responsibility? I guess it's, some is to support Lale, but y'all kind of work hand in hand. But y'all made a trip out to Denver. Tell us a
Right.
little bit about
We
that
did.
trip.
We we met with the Transplant Life Foundation, who actually uh, supports the games, puts them on, does the whole big thing. And they gave us some ideas of what was good, what's happening, some of the areas that we were going to be using, a lot of things. They just put everything out there, and then they worked to find the hotels. And then I think Lael submitted how many rooms we needed. Actually, it's if you're going to stay through the entire games, it's going to be a 6-night hotel stay. So, and we finally, they have a lot to do out there. So, and I know a lot of people were wanting, when are we going to get the hotels? When are we going to get the hotels? Well, there is a lot of things that Transplant Life Foundation has to do in order to get all of this organized. And it's not easy for them. So we finally got the rooms. Everybody went in. If they're going to stay, they can. They go in and they get what they need, reserve what they need, and then we just all show up and have a good time. But yeah, it's very costly when you've got to get your airfare and spend your hotel rooms and then food. And so if, a family of 4, it's going to cost them a good bit. So the fundraising is one of the major parts of getting ready to go to the games, is the fundraising. And a lot of people before I had a transplant, I couldn't tell you, I couldn't talk about anything. If somebody asked me, hey, would you like to donate to the Transplant Games of America? I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's where it needs to be out there. People need to understand what it's all about, what these athletes are going through and what they're accomplishing. It's just amazing. And hopefully one day they'll know.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could pick everybody up that's even interested, that's been involved in organ donation or organ receiving and whatnot. If you could just pick them all up and carry them with you, and you had plenty
Yeah,
of money to be able to carry
exactly.
everybody, it would be nice, but it doesn't work out that way. But through Give Butter, you can help. It's tax deductible, of course. Your donation is. Well, LL, coming back to you, there may be somebody out here watching that may want to get involved with the Transplant Games or maybe interested in joining the team. How would they do that, and how would they get that kind of information?
So that, I guess, sign up is through Legacy of Hope. So if you go to their website, Legacy of Hope is Alabama's organ procurement agency. And, of course, they organize donations, the actual organ donations, organ, eye, and tissue donations, and they spearhead awareness programs. But they have a link on their page for more information about Team Alabama. Someone could fill out an interest form, and that will go to our team email, and we'll reach out to them.
Yeah. Well, definitely. That sounds like it. Well, explain about the legacy of hope. That's kind of all this kind of goes in together. You've got the Transplant Olympic Games, you got the legacy of hope, and you've also got Donate Life. All this is kind of sort of tied in together. Kind of explain, especially what the legacy of hope does and what Donate Life is about.
Yeah. So Donate Life Alabama is the charity that promotes organ donation awareness. Legacy of Hope is the organ procurement center. Their personnel kind of do that dual organizing deceased donor donations, lining up those donations with recipients on their end, and then also promoting organ donation awareness.
And some people kind of gets a misconception about organ donation, and kind of like in our case, Pam, if it wasn't for an organ donor, you may not be here. I know I wouldn't be.
No,
Had you not been a live donor, that person that you donated to may not be here because they might not have ever found a match.
right.
So people kind of get the misconceptions sometimes. And tell us, Pam, if you want to, what's the best way, if you want to be an organ donor, what are the best ways to do this? I know you can put it on your license, but there's also other ways of doing it.
Well, one thing I would do first is talk to your family and let them know that that's your choice. And a lot of young people are doing that. They're letting their families know first that, hey, I want to be an organ donor. Where they've heard about it from somebody. The other way is I would go to Legacy of Hope or any of your state's procurement offices, and you can go to Legacy of Hope and sign up to be an organ donor. So that would be my suggestion, is just first talk to your family.
Yeah, definitely. So, Chrissy come on and made a comment. One of the best parts of the Olympics is that opening ceremony. And you two, we've been through that. Tears flow, all over that arena during the opening ceremony, especially when the donor families come out with their signs. I mean, it's just such an emotional moment. Another one of those things I wish everyone could experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, the team was, I guess, at Legacy Arena. The teams were all down on the court, and the donor families came in, and you could just reach out, touch, and hug them, and they were just crying. They made you cry. It was pretty amazing to see. The numbers of donor families was just mind-blowing.
And another thing that y'all really missed being a part of Birmingham was that Alabama came out last. In a normal transplant games, if it's off somewhere else, Alabama comes out first. And then you get to see all those teams come out, every other team come out. And that's what's really emotional. Yeah. So in Birmingham, you really didn't see the full effect. But you did see the donors' families come out, which is very emotional. But to see all those other teams come out, you're just like rooting them on.
My kids were in the stands, and they were like, "We had no idea this was such a thing."
No, you wouldn't. I was amazed my first one. I was totally amazed.
Yeah, and it was just so heartwarming, and you just kind of kept going to look around to see, story after story. You just saw people walking in. It was a lot to comprehend. So it was. Well, tell me this before we go any further. Going back to the 24 games, Pam, did you have a most memorable moment?
I had a lot of them. My first time playing the Texas Hold'em poker, so I was at a table with all guys, And throughout the whole, this was kind of my first, I think this was my first event during the games. And throughout the rest of the 5 days, 4 days, whatever, I ran into those guys all the time. So we would be like, oh, how far did you get? How far did you get? And so, I mean, that's just the thing that you do. And then bowling, my first time to bowl with Betsy Brown, and we had a great time. It was just, but yeah, it's all great to me. So I don't know if I had a really memorable part, but I did run into a lady from Oklahoma that I had met at the Grand Rapids game. And I had not seen her since, which that was 2014, something like that. And I finally ran into her in Birmingham, which was, I mean, we were like, it's like we just, hadn't been apart. We just picked up where we left off 10 years ago. So it was just, it was good.
Yes, yeah, it's amazing. What about Lael? Did you have a moment that really stood out?
I think, I guess, so the triathlon, the biking was at the Barber Motorsports Speedway, and it was fast. I mean, I've never ridden my bike that fast. So, going out on that track, the air was getting sucked out of your lungs. And I'd met a competitor that was on the Team Philadelphia. I met her during the swim. She was a liver recipient. And, I saw her like kind of struggling on one of the hills on the bike. And I was like trying to shout, I asked if she was okay. She was okay. So you kind of went on because there weren't people stacked up. It wasn't like a roadway where there were supporters along it. You were out there by yourself on the track. Yeah. And then later I saw her, and she was upset because she ended up not finishing the bike. And if I had known that, I would have slowed down and helped her. So that kind of just hurt my heart because she was saying she was upset she didn't finish. She was a liver recipient, and a lot of the medication has side effects. So she had been dealing with skin cancer that year. And also, working and juggling everything, juggling training. So she was upset. I consoled her, and that moment just stuck in my heart because I was like, if I had known that, you were struggling that much, I would have stopped and helped you.
Yeah, I understand. Of course, I guess you say you kind of throw my 2 cents in. It was amazing to have my family there for everything. And that was great. Of course, getting to know team members, and we'll probably be a lot closer when we go to Denver because we'll be forced to hang out together more. So that will probably be a lot more fun. But the thing I remember, playing in those basketball games, we didn't expect to win anything. Next thing you know, we worked our tail off. A lot of us played 2 sports in one day, somehow got it together and won a few basketball games, got close to getting to the gold medal game, but we did win the bronze. So it was kind of a brotherhood that brought us together. So it was amazing. I think God sometimes puts things together like that for a reason. But I think the one thing that stood out to me, there was a young official. He was waiting on our one of our games, and he called me over and he asked me a question. And we were talking, and he said, it's amazing. He said, I didn't think this event was this big. He goes, this transplant games people really are first rate at putting all this together. He goes, it's much more than I thought it was. I said, well, I'm going to tell you something to make you understand what this is about. I said, look around at all these people competing. A lot of them, if it wasn't for people who donated organs, they would not be here. Everyone in this room has a story, and it's special, and we're all linked together. And when you realize that, you'll understand it. And you could tell it kind of brought a tear to his eye because he was a young guy and he was just amazed at what he saw. So not only do you touch, people, donor families, you
Mm-hmm.
touch people who are outsiders, who are just part of the games, don't really mean to be, but they also get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to about this. Of course, Stan Smith. He's been on the show before, and he's part of the committee in a large part. Kind of you three are in a lot of instances are kind of the glue that holds everything together. But you can't say enough about Stan. He's done so much, and I think he's done a large part. If it wasn't for him, I don't know that this thing would still be held together.
Yeah.
I
Probably
agree.
not for Team Alabama.
I agree. Stan is, I don't know, I don't think we could do it without him. Could we, Lil? I really don't. He does so much. And I mean, he'll send an email out to us and we're like, oh, okay, sorry, forgot about that. Or, because he keeps everything together. But he has a story and, he has a good story and he loves to talk about it. And he's been to a lot of games. He loves to talk about what he's been to. He's just a great guy. And we were trying to get the games back together because the team back together because it was going to be in Birmingham. And, Stan wasn't sure what he could provide. And then I got an email from Lael said, I'm interested in being a team manager. And I'm like, okay, let me get back with her and she can come on in. So her and Stan just kind of took off with it and it was good.
Leo, what are your feelings towards Stan?
Yeah, I mean, he is the glue that holds everything together. He keeps track of all our team members, even former team members, and seems to know everyone, knows their stories. We, I guess, call him our team historian, keeps track of photos.
He calls himself the administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant.
Not sure where he got that, but
yeah. Well, the one thing that I like about what you can do with Stan is you can reach out to him, and if he don't know the answer, he'll find you one and get back with you. And Stan is one of those people. I think he thinks of others before he thinks of himself.
Yeah. He's always been that way ever since I've known him. He loves to go out and takes the pictures at the games, and he's not going to be able. He still says he's not going to Denver. I say he is, but he says he's not. So I don't know. We have somebody else that's interested in doing pictures, so that may be his way to get out of it.
That's like with my wife, as far as she's concerned. She helps out on the committee and all, and she's probably more excited about this than I am. She had such a great time in Birmingham. She's been, she's had this planned. We're even going to drive out. We're going to spend it over 2 weeks.
Oh,
I know
wow.
that. So, we're going to drive to Branson and then going into Colorado. We're planning to see Rod Stewart while we're in Colorado. It just so happens he's going to be there 2 days before the Olympics start. So we're going to get there a little bit early. So we're going to kind of make a nice trip out of it. And that's a good thing about traveling away. It is that. But Leo, as far as Stan, Chrissy says Stan is amazing. He's such an important part of Team Alabama. And that, that goes without saying. Leo, some of the, I know we've kind of touched on this now, what we have participated in, but for folks that might be interested in still wanting to compete, what are the sports? You may not have a list, but maybe you can just go by Miriam. But what are some of the sports that are available for people who get into the Olympic Games, what they can compete in?
Okay. I guess things that we might not have mentioned, there's like a softball throw with track. There's a lot of the short running events. There's long jump, pickleball, tennis, ballroom dancing, Lyrics for Life, which is like a singing competition. That one you have to qualify for.
Yeah.
They don't want to hurt people's ears.
They don't want people like me.
Let's see. There is ping pong, cornhole, the poker, darts. I think there's like a few different dart type events.
Yeah, we did 2 types last year.
There are some like other activities. There's like coffee house that people can get up and tell their story or just share things. There are usually events for donor families as well. Some like workshops for them. The content of those tends to vary. There's a donor tribute. Every team gets to turn in donors' pictures and their information. And there's just a big candlelit ceremony to honor them. Let's see what else. There's I guess one of the events, you walk around looking at different vendors. I'm trying to think of
what is that called? Where we went in and looked at all the.
But at that same time, every team comes with a team pin for the year.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone swaps these pins. So you stop and you talk to everybody, large and small. The people you meet, I think we met someone carrying around his old heart with him. So he was the man with 2 hearts.
In a jar.
Yeah.
In a jar.
Oh, Lord. And that's one of the big things. Of course, you've got things like team basketball and co-ed basketball, and I think golf is one. But there's a lot of events going on around the Olympics where families can be involved in. So there's something going on constantly. And like where y'all were talking about, I can't think of what it's called either, but it's the area where you can play games and get balloons and talk to vendors. People are selling stuff, T-shirts and things like that, anything involved. And probably get information in that area too, especially if you're going somewhere in the Denver area. But there's a lot in that. And y'all were talking about pin trading. Pam, talk about pin trading. That's one of the best things for the Olympic people who are involved in that is pin trade, trying to get pins from other states. We have our own pin and we trade for other pins. That is so much fun. I didn't realize how fun it was. But it allows you to approach somebody and find out their story. So you build relationships that way.
Yeah, you're given a lanyard when you go into the games and with all your packet and stuff that you'll need. And a lot of people take those pins and they'll stick them on that lanyard, and a lot of them run out of room. So they'll start sticking them wherever. But yeah, you just walk up. You'll have a list. You can get a list of all the teams there that have pins, all the states, and you can even mark it off your list as you go. And a lot of people do that. They're very competitive when it comes to the pins. They're going to want to get all of them. And then some of the teams some of them may have 3 pins to their collection. Like you match all 3 pins together and it may create something. So they get really creative, and a lot of people they'll do whatever they can to get all the pins. I've never been able to get them all. I've been able to get a lot of them, but never all of them. And in my first games, I think I collected all mine, and I even put them in a shadow box and kept them till the shadow box kind of fell apart. And so then now they're in a baggie somewhere.
Yeah.
But it is so much fun to see what everybody's created from the 2 years before.
Yeah,
Because
and
all their pens are different.
yeah, well, a lot of them are hard to get. Like I happened to
Yeah.
get the guy from Australia that was there. I got his last pen, and it was a little old Australian flag, little old bitty thing.
Yeah.
But some of them are rare, and you can't hardly get them. But that was one of the ones that was a get. And yeah, that's a big part of the Olympics. Well, I don't know if maybe we've hit a lot of the topics. We may need to go back. Be sure that to understand the folks, if they want to contribute, they can go to donate by Give Butter. And of course, again, we want to talk about the reason we do a lot of this stuff is awareness of organ donation. Because the biggest thing about organ donation, and there's some misconceptions about they're going to let you die at the hospital. They're not going to do that. In the state of Alabama, there are strict rules involved in that. So they're not going to let that happen. But people that donate organs, you can save up to 8 lives, and you can change people's lives. So it's an important part, being an organ donor, and I think a lot of people are not aware of that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And there's no age limit.
Right. There's not.
So, just keep your heart open. If, something should happen and you're willing to donate, say yes. And, let the organ procurement agency worry about the details.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Well, as far as our trip to Colorado coming up in June, Lael, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I guess getting over the anxiety of the altitude.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm not quite sure how extra hard it's going to be because of the altitude.
Yeah, I understand.
How high?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I hopped on real quick. I was curious.
Go ahead.
Y'all's thoughts about someone like Phil that gets out of breath just walking from his recliner to the refrigerator. How's he going to be able to do anything that high altitude in Denver?
Phil signed up for too.
Yeah.
Something every day. Yeah.
Hey, Phil showed his stuff last time in Birmingham. I mean, he was on that basketball court. Like he said, he's knocking them around to just get them out of the way.
I think
that was last year at good altitude. What's going to happen this year in Denver?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, I'll do the same. If they're not going to call anything inside, you better watch out because I can tell you right now, anytime somebody come and go and thought they had an easy path to the basket, they had to earn it from the free throw line. I promise you.
Yeah, we were impressed with him in Birmingham. He was. Hopefully, he'll get used to the altitude. He's going early, so hopefully he'll get acclimated to the altitude before we get there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Phil. I was just curious about all that.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Well, it's been great having you on. Is there anything hopefully do we have any fundraisers coming up that people can get involved in? Any dates or anything like that? Leo, I can't remember. Chrissy keeps up with all that, so I'm kind of sort of in the dark on a lot of that stuff. But there's still ways that people can contribute through fundraisers and things like that. I know Chris is planning on doing a couple of things, but again, it would be nice to get a lot more people involved, and there's more people that's out there that's been donors or have gotten organs that could participate in the Olympic Games if they just reach out and do that. Once again, tell how they would do that.
So look on the Legacy of Hope page. There's information about Team Alabama there. That was also the clearinghouse for organ donation as well. And I believe it's got our link to donate as well, the Legacy of Hope page.
Yeah, it does. And reach out to our Facebook page, which is what?
Team Alabama support.
Team Alabama athletes and supporters.
Mhm.
Also, go to, if you want to really know more about the Transplant Games, go to the Transplant Games of America website. They've got a lot of pictures.
I think they list both my contact info and Pam's under
Yeah,
the state of Alabama.
Exactly, yeah. And just shoot us an email. I think I've got our email address on there. And we'll put you in touch with Stan, and he'll get you on our list, and then you go register. And please don't think you've got to be a star athlete, because you don't.
No,
And a lot of
case in point, this guy sitting right here. He's not a star
Hey,
athlete.
I'm going to jump in and go with Howie here. We know Phil's not a star, so
Well, trust me. And another thing about the games is a lot of it is based on age groups. You have an age group. So what is it? Say 20 to 40, 40 plus to 60, 60 plus to 80. I don't know how. That's just an example. So, and you can medal in those categories, age group. Plus we have, if you're like a organ recipient, you're a group 1. If you're bone marrow donor, whatever that, you're a group 2. So there's many ways to get a medal.
Yeah.
So don't think that you got to go in there and be first, second, and third and everything. That's
And of course, everybody that shows up can actually compete and walk or run in the 5K. You just have to pay to do it. But everybody's involved in it, and that's a lot of fun. Even though it's a little rough, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. And if Phil can do it, anybody can do it.
amen. We'll do that. Hey, I have a question, Phil, if I can ask. What can somebody like me that's an outsider do to support? Is it go to Give Butter, find an athlete, give money, or is there other things? Are they rallies? Are they fundraisers during the year that we can be part of?
Yeah. Well, Pam or Leigh, I'll let y'all answer that.
There are fundraisers, and we usually put them out there on our Facebook page, or either it's just an email, stuff like that. And usually, with everybody scattered out, usually somebody will have a fundraiser in their area. Not everybody can participate, but like Lel and I are kind of in the same area, in the Huntsville, Coleman area, so we can kind of team up. Where Phil, I don't know who you have out there in Fort Payne or in your area, but you just pretty much have to team up in your area to do some fundraisers. You can always go to Give Butter if you have a company that wants to be a sponsor. That's another way to give back. Just wherever there's money, we'll take it.
Well, Howie's rich, so he could sponsor 3 or 4 athletes there.
Yeah, he affords tickets to the Atlanta Falcons. He can buy anything.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
He can donate some tickets to the game.
Yeah.
We could raffle them off. There you go.
Yeah, but that is, there's many ways to raise funds, and most of it is private funds. And of course, like Carl Prather, he's the sports director over at one of the TV stations in Huntsville. He did a little research after I talked with him. He's supposed to do a story for us. He goes, Phil, he said, I didn't realize how big the Transplant Olympic Games were. They just don't get a lot of exposure. And, of course, that's what we're trying to do now, is get the word out there. Not only do we want to raise awareness for organ donation, that's a huge thing, but also to understand how important these transplant games are to many, many people. We want to keep those things going. And, Alabama's a large part of that. And so we want to keep being able to participate. But there's so many good things about the transplant games. And Leo, I know you have become a huge part of it. And
I think Leo's having some technical difficulties.
you back
Coming.
there?
Yeah.
Sound
Yeah.
dropped out. I'm sorry.
You're a huge part of this. You're a huge part of this. And I know you want to give a shout out to some people because this thing is huge.
It is.
I'm going to try to go off here to see if I can free up some bandwidth.
But Pam, it's such a huge thing, and it's great for people that are involved in this. And hopefully we will be able to do more podcasts. I'd like to get somebody on from the management folks from out at Denver, and then maybe have staying on with us to try to raise some more awareness. But yes, Leo, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? It's a great event, and of course, we want supporters. We want more people to compete. There's just a lot of things involved in transplant games in 2026 coming up, and time is getting short.
Shout out to the recipients. You guys have worked hard to, regain your health. These games are just an important testimony of your entire journey. So just giving a shout out to you guys.
I say give a shout out to these donors, which I've met my donor, and I could tell that I wanted to just praise him every day, all day. Just tell everybody, hey, this is my donor. Meet my donor. Meet my donor. Well, he's kind of like he was kind of more humble, I guess. I don't think he liked all that attention, or maybe he did. I don't know. I just kind of, I didn't know whether he did or not. But meeting Leo and her being a donor, seeing how she felt about it, it made me understand how he felt. He didn't want the praise every day. He's just happy that he did it, and that he could save a life, and that just made me see a whole new side of the other side.
I think that what that comes down to, it humbles both sides.
Yes.
I got a second chance. It humbles me big time, knowing that I have been given extra time, and I better do something with it, and it's not to point at me. And I think that's the way it's on both sides of the fence. You've made a difference in somebody's life, and it makes you take things into perspective, I think.
Yeah. And the games, that's why we have donors and we have recipients. We get to live both sides of it at the games, because you're constantly talking to donors and you're talking to other recipients, and so it's all one. You've got the ones that gave and the one that took, so I don't know how else to explain it. It's just it's just different for everything about it's just great.
Yeah, definitely is. I'm really looking forward to it again. Well, I want to thank y'all for having you on. We could talk about this all night long and probably share lots of stories, and maybe we can do it again. We'll try to see if we can work that out. But it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed having y'all on. Good luck to you. Of course, we want to get awareness out there about the importance of organ donation. Of course, these Olympic Games are important to so many, and we hope folks understand. So I guess that's it, Randy. If you want to sign us off, or if there's anything you want to ask before we leave. And he's muted himself.
I enjoyed being a spectator to this show. It was really enjoyable.
I hope so. But thank you for having us.
Anytime. And next time I'll remember to cut my mic back on.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Hi.
Good night.
God bless.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thank y'all very much.